time.
Yes, ma'am.
And at that point, you got the message that the voicemail box was full.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, on September 28th, you learned through Natasha Davis that Julie was using a new phone number.
Yes, ma'am. I think it was the 48. That's
And
correct.
that number was 931-290-8316.
That sounds correct. I would have to look through my notes.
So she began using this new number 2 days after Michael Harding's body was found.
Yes, ma'am.
And upon receiving that number, you tried to contact Julie on it.
Yes, ma'am.
You tried calling her from post 15 where it would show that it was ASD.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you also tried calling her from a cellular phone.
Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
And she never answered.
Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
And you left voicemails on the new number,
Yes, ma'am.
and Julie never called back.
That's correct.
And I think you testified that on September 29th, you traveled to Salina, and on that day you attempted to contact Julie Harding.
Yeah, the neighbor was sitting on the front porch, so it said, and we asked her to call Julie using her phone, thinking that Julie would answer for the neighbor, and she did.
She did answer when Sue called her.
Yes, ma'am.
And at that point, Julie declined to speak to you.
She came back, she eventually come back to the neighbor's residence, and then we talked to her there, and that's when she told us that she had retained an attorney, and she gave me the business card for her attorney. I contacted him, and he initially indicated that they would be willing to sit for an interview. It got strung out over a couple of days, like I contacted him back later, he said that Julie was going to be out of town. It eventually got to a point where he just told me that they were not willing to sit for an interview.
And that was on October the 6th.
Yes, ma'am.
And then Julie was arrested for criminal trespass. I believe you testified on December 8th, 2022. And FBI agents attempted to interview her at that time.
Yes, ma'am.
She refused to give a statement without a lawyer present.
That was my understanding. I wasn't present. That was my understanding.
Were you able to review the report from the agents who did that interview?
I've not seen the report. It was just passed on to me through agents.
And you indicated that Julie then committed suicide on December the 10th.
Yes, ma'am.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor? I'm showing you 2 photographs. Yes, please. Do you recognize those?
Yes, ma'am.
And who are those photos of?
My photographs of Julie Harding.
And those photos are fair and accurate representation of Julie Harding?
Yes, ma'am.
At this point, I would move to admit those as the next defense exhibit.
I think they're already in.
Only one of them, Judge.
Go ahead and introduce the book.
Okay, let's go back to the crime scene for a little bit. So the scene was secured from September the 26th to September the 27th,
Yes, ma'am.
meaning that police were present at the scene
Yes, ma'am.
and no one else could access anything on the property.
Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
That kept the evidence untouched during that time.
Yes, ma'am.
And the scene was released and no longer secured after September the 27th.
Yes, whatever times reported on the crime scene, all of it.
So at that point, there would have been no more crime scene tape
Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
and no more police presence at the scene.
Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
But Trooper Hunt returned to the scene on September the 30th to collect the key box from the main house, right?
Yes, ma'am. So I was not present when the scene was processed, and in those first couple of days, the conversations with the FBI, he had asked me about the lock box being swabbed, and I said, I'm not for sure, I've not had a chance to look at the report, the people from the lab, the crime scene processing team process it, so I'm not sure what all they swabbed. I've not had a chance to look at it yet. And so it was Agent Stroud with FBI. He asked me, he said, do you care if we go back and take that lockbox and the door handle? And I said, and I told him, no, I don't care, because whatever the crime scene processing team was going to do, they've already done. And so he knew Sergeant Hunt prior to that, and so he ended up calling. He knew I was busy. He ended up calling Sergeant Hunt to have him go out and actually collect those items.
Okay, so he collected the doorknob and the key box 3 days after the scene had been released.
Yes, ma'am.
And the swabs that were taken from Michael Harding's truck, they were turned over to the FBI.
Yes, ma'am.
And the doorknob and the key box were also turned over to the FBI.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, moving on to the surveillance video, you did not personally collect surveillance in this case, did you?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear
You did not personally collect surveillance in this case, did you?
you. The surveillance video from the, I get confused, I think it's the minute car in the corner, I actually collected that. When we left the scene and we went to the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office, they had the surveillance, they were showing me because they had looked for the victim's truck from the 19th that had identified the victim's truck, and they were showing it to me. And I said, can y'all download that to a thumb drive to me and give me whatever you got left on the system? And so they said that they would. And then the next day, Sergeant Hunt actually went and collected it, and then I got it to him.
And then you reviewed that surveillance.
Yes, ma'am.
And there was only footage obtained from the north side of the square and the south side of the square. Is that correct?
It's been from the courthouse that my understanding is that's the only two cameras they have.
And then at some point, did you canvass Glasgow Road looking for additional cameras?
Sergeant Hunt did.
So you did not.
That's correct.
You did review the surveillance that was obtained from the Morgan barn.
Yes, I looked, but I couldn't. I did look at it. To me, I couldn't make anything out on the road at all. But I did look at it.
And that footage was only 2 minutes and 36 seconds total.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the length of it was. I remember looking at it. It didn't even show the road.
So you didn't return to the Morgan barn to attempt to obtain any additional surveillance from that camera? And then you reviewed the surveillance from Carter's Auto Sales.
Yes, ma'am.
There were 3 hours of footage collected there.
Yes, ma'am. That's to the best of my memory.
And you didn't return to Carter's to attempt to get additional surveillance from earlier in the day?
No, not that I recall.
Let's talk about the surveillance that you did obtain. So as far as Tom's truck, you testified that it was only seen on surveillance, the courthouse surveillance, one time at 12:55 p.m. on the 19th. Correct?
It's 12:55 in that time frame. I think it shows 12:54 on the bank law.
May I approach the witness?
Sure.
Okay, I'm showing you a photograph. You recognize that photograph?
Yes, ma'am.
That's a fair and accurate representation of Tom's truck on the courthouse surveillance.
Yes, ma'am.
And now the time on the video says, or, I'm sorry. Your Honor, I'm going to move to admit that photograph as the next offense exhibit.
Check your sword.
All right, now the time on the video says 11:55, but you indicated that's not accurate.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
So the courthouse camera is 1 hour slow.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, please.
Yeah. Wait. Come up here. move around here where you can see this.
That's okay. I won't lose it, Judge.
That's okay.
Okay. Okay, so we were talking about the courthouse surveillance. Can we put that picture back? All right, so this is Tom's truck, and as you said, this footage is 1 hour slow. So the time is 12:54 or 12:51.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And at this point, he's exiting Courthouse Square towards Glasgow Road.
Yes, ma'am, facing north on 61.
And no other time is Tom's truck seen on the courthouse surveillance.
Not that I saw.
Okay. Not in the 9 hours of surveillance footage collected.
Not that I saw. A lot of that footage I reviewed. I looked through them early on. Again, some of it I was looking for a silver car. I tried to go back and look at a lot of it again, but as best I recall, I made notes on what vehicles I've seen. And as best I recall, I never saw that truck either.
And that truck is also visible on the minute mark surveillance that you collected.
Yes, ma'am.
May I approach the witness?
Sure.
I painted you another photograph. You recognize that?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is that?
Are you putting that up on your computer or?
On the screen.
The Elmo, are we using the Elmo?
No.
I will
Turn the Elmo off. Turn the Elmo off.
Okay. You recognize that picture?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is that photograph of?
It appears to be a still image from that camera at what was the minimum.
Okay. And this is what you've identified as Tom's Toyota Tundra passing the minute mark,
Yes, ma'am.
heading east on Glasgow Road.
Yes, ma'am.
At this point, I would move to admit that photo as the next defense exhibit.
Objection ordered.
Now, looking at that still picture, there's another car visible behind Tom's truck. Isn't there?
Yes, ma'am.
And then Michael's truck was captured entering the courthouse square at 4:39 p.m. according to the footage collected from the tire. Right.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Michael's truck was captured entering courthouse square at 4:39 according to the Tucker surveillance footage.
I'm not familiar with that footage.
And approach. Okay. I gave you a photograph. Do you recognize that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that is from the surveillance footage within the courthouse square.
Yeah, it appears to be. I don't.
Okay, we've got that one on the screen there. You gonna take it down, and put
Yes.
this one up?
Yes. And the time indicated on that picture is 4:39 p.m.
Yeah, I don't think that's accurate.
Okay. Is this picture a fair and accurate representation of the surveillance footage obtained for jumpers?
It appears to be.
Okay. I would move to admit that as defensive next exhibit.
Objection ordered.
And Detective Burton, when you say that you don't believe that time is accurate, is that because of the time on the courthouse footage?
Yeah, because the time on the courthouse footage, you can see you can verify it from the bank clock in the corner, and there's multiple ways of verifying it. This seems to be off from the time that's on the courthouse footage.
But you agree that that is a photo of Michael Hardy's truck?
It appears to be.
May I go
last photo?
Yes, Your Honor.
Without objection, so ordered. That's the issue.
Okay, I've just handed you a photograph. You recognize it?
Yes, ma'am.
What is it?
It appears to be the same camera angle, looking in the same direction.
I checked, Your Honor, actually, they're probably sure. It has seconds on it.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I asked you, this is a fair and accurate representation from that surveillance footage.
It appears to be.
At this point, I would move to omit that as the defense's next exhibit. And the time on this one is 4:42 p.m. Can you see it?
No, that's fine.
Okay, so this is 3 minutes after Michael Harding's truck has entered the square.
Yeah, it appears to be from the previous image you showed.
Okay. And then going back to the courthouse cameras, may I go?
Sure, show them.
Okay, I've handed you a photo. You recognize that photo?
It appears to be Michael Hardin's truck.
Okay. You need to put the right picture up there. If you want to try to do that, you flip these pictures around.
Michael's truck.
You need some time to get,
No, we're fine.
okay.
Okay, and this is a fair and accurate representation of the courthouse surveillance of Michael's truck.
Yes, ma'am.
I would move to admit that as an offensive next exhibit.
Without objection, so ordered.
Now, the timestamp on this photo is 15:34.
Yes, ma'am.
And again, that's an hour off, so we're talking about 4:34 p.m.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's why you thought the Tucker's footage was off, because it was 4:39.
Yes, ma'am.
So it would appear that footage was fast.
I'm sorry.
It would appear the Tucker's footage was faster than the courthouse.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Your Honor, may I approach the witness? Okay, I handed you one last photograph. You recognize that?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is that photograph of?
It looked to me to be a small white car.
Okay. And the time on that photo says 15:37, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
But the corrected time would be 4:37.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's 3 minutes after Michael Harding went through the square.
Yes, ma'am.
I move to admit that as defense exhibit.
Without objection, so ordered.
Okay. So you were aware of Detective Dubree's interview with J.D. Willis that took place on September the 27th?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were aware that Mr. Willis described seeing a small silver gray car arrive at the house after a large gray truck arrived.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Willis gave a description of the man he saw get out of the silver car.
Yes, ma'am.
And that description was a young, thin-built, white male with short brown hair.
Yes, ma'am.
And when you said earlier that he described an altercation, he described a verbal altercation, correct? Not a physical fight.
Initially, but there's TV interviews that he does later that contradicts his statement.
In his interview with Detective Dupree.
Yes, ma'am.
And as we just talked about, a small silver gray car was also caught following behind Michael Harding's truck 3 minutes
Yes, well, this,
after he went through.
yes, ma'am.
That silver car was never identified.
No, ma'am.
The drive, I'm sorry.
To my knowledge, we never identified who the driver was or.
Once the prepaid phone was co-located with Tom, Tom became the primary suspect in the investigation, didn't he?
Yes, ma'am.
And no additional investigation was done to identify the man described by Mr. Willis.
No, we were looking at everything initially. Again, the prepaid cell phone is used to arrange the murder. So that's the most reliable information we have. Mr. Willis's statement, he contradicts himself in television interviews later on as to what he saw and what happened.
Okay, I'd like to move on to Tom and Julie's relationship. So your investigation showed that Tom and Julie Harding met on a dating website, right?
I have information about that, but I don't know that I ever had any concrete information that.
But you did receive information that they had a dating relationship.
My understanding was that they could have possibly, and again, I've never been able to verify, you heard the interview with O'Donnell, but my understanding is that they may have met on Millionaire Matchmaker, but I've never been able to establish that they had any kind of romantic relationship. And actually, when we finally got to the point of examining Mr. O'Donnell's phone, there was multiple women that he had romantic relationships with, but he didn't communicate with them in the same way that he did Julie Harding. All of those relationships are phone calls and text messages.
So you reviewed the cell phone extractions from both Julie's phone and Tom's phone.
Yes, ma'am.
And although the phone calls between Julie's 5816 number and Tom's phone stopped on September the 8th, your investigation showed that they were still in contact after that date.
We think they were communicating by some other method.
You just have no cell phone evidence of what those communications were.
Correct.
And at the time of Julie's arrest, 2 cell phones were taken from her.
Yes, ma'am.
As the lead investigator, you reviewed the extractions from those cell phones,
Yes, ma'am.
and you reviewed Julie Harding's text messages.
Yes, ma'am.
So you were aware that Julie Harding was using 4 separate cell phones by November of 2022.
By the time of her arrest, yes, ma'am. One of those phones was a California Highway Patrol phone.
But the other 2 cell phones were never located.
I'm sorry?
The other 2 cell phones were never located.
I'm not for sure what you're asking, like the physical phone?
Well, you just testified that you were aware that she had 4 cell phones.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that. One of the phones that was recovered, she had done a factory reset on September the 26th. I don't know, I'm not sure if you're asking me about accounts or actual physical phones. I guess I'm a little bit confused on. And to be honest, I'm not for sure how many phones. I think there was 2 phones that were seized off from her that day, and those were the phones that were downloaded. Somewhere in the investigation, I remember we came across where it looked like she had bought another phone, but I can't remember. I don't remember when she bought that new phone. She used one of her old numbers where she got a new number. Again, I know from Natasha Davis, there was a point where she did start using another number.
So you're not sure how many physical phones she had?
Best I recall, I think there was only 2 that was seized off from her that day. I think there was another one When she committed suicide, well, there was actually, I think there was 2 phones when she committed suicide that was taken into custody by TBI.
And those 2 were never extracted.
I'm not sure if they were or not.
So you have no idea what communications could have been on those other 2 phones?
2 days or day and a half, no.
You were also aware that there was a 3rd phone number associated with Julie Harding.
I'm not sure what you're referring to.
You're aware that Julie Harding was associated with phone number 442-244-5284.
You have to give me some reference. I don't know where you're getting that phone number at.
Sure, from Drew Rogers' report from the FBI.
I have no idea. What they seized off from her or did in California, I was at the airport with Agent Johnson, and it was a separate team of FBI agents that did the search warrant on her house. I think, as best I recall, they recovered some electronic evidence from that location. But again, at that particular time, Julie Harding was in Tennessee.
So you never reviewed the report by Drew Rogers dated 11/21/22.
Not that I recall.
So your investigation revealed that Julie had been making claims about Michael being aggressive even prior to the divorce.
I don't remember coming across that. I remember seeing her or hearing about that she made claims about drug use, but I don't remember anything about physically aggressive or alleging that he was physically aggressive to her.
On December 28, 2022, you spoke with a gentleman named Donnie Walton,
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry about that, because I do recall talking to him.
and he informed you that he and Julie had communicated over Facebook during the summer of 2022.
Yes,
And he then sent you screenshots of that conversation.
yes, ma'am.
And those screenshots were dated.
Objection, Your Honor.
And you were involved in the search of Julie and Michael Harding's home in Salina.
Yes, ma'am.
And you also saw the sticky notes throughout the house.
Yes, ma'am.
And those notes your investigation revealed were written by Julie Harding.
It indicated that they were written by her.
You also reviewed the extraction of Julie Harding's cell phone, as you indicated.
Yes, ma'am, if you're referring to the phones, if there was phones seized in California, I've not reviewed them. I don't know what all was taken out there. And again, I was most focused on the phones that were seized from her person when she was arrested.
And you discovered that the cell phone attached to the 5816 number had been factory reset.
That was my understanding. There was a factory reset on September 26th.
On September the 26th. And that means all the data was erased from the phone. The same day Michael Clyde was found.
Yes, ma'am.
And as you indicated earlier, you reviewed the text messages from Julie's 8316 phone, the number she began using on September the 27th.
831.
8316.
Yeah, I'm not for sure. I mean, if it was one of the phones that was seized off of her when she was arrested, but when you're saying numbers, I'm not for sure which phone.
This is the second phone seized from Julie Hardy when she was arrested.
Yes, ma'am, I will.
And you reviewed that in detail.
I reviewed it, myself and Agent Johnson were trying to split up, there was so much electronic evidence to go through. We communicated back and forth, I'm sure I looked at it. I don't know that I would go so far as to say I reviewed it in detail, if it was one of those phones that he was primarily looking at, probably referred to him when found him.
So in your review, you discovered that she was involved romantically with several men from October to December of 2022?
There was text messages where it looked like she would meet up with people and stuff. I didn't see anything like, and there was nothing that looked like it was a very intense relationship. I don't know how else to describe it. But there was men that she would text back and forth to or call, and they would, I mean, there was, best of call, I think there were some messages about, are you going to be in town, maybe we could meet, that sort of